Welcome in to News and Views with Tom Lamprecht. The stories you've heard and the ones you need to hear.
This massive, record-breaking heat wave.
No nation is immune.
My Build Back Better Act.
After spending us into inflation, they now want to tax us into recession.
The highest rate of illegal immigration.
Thousands of migrants have arrived in New York City.
A overburdened shelter system.
Your life, your values, your voice. This is News and Views with Tom Lamprecht on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
All right, welcome in. It is News and Views for a Wednesday. The week is going by quickly. Every day, our producer texts Benny and I asking for the title of today's program. And there's some good ones out there today. Benny came up with all of them. Democrats and Pothole Pete praise the pain at the pump. I like that one. Summer vacay at Brandon Falls. You heard about that. The location of where Joe Biden fell off his bicycle up in Delaware outside of Rehoboth Beach near his home. It has now been listed as a historical landmark on Google. This is a true story. It has actually happened. You can go Google it on Google Maps. At least it was. Now, you know, the White House might have come down on Google Maps. They might have changed it back. But earlier today, anyway, if you went to Google Maps and you put in Brandon Falls, Delaware, it will take you to the place where Joe Biden fell off his bike. You can't make it up. Interestingly, after they did that, there was a number of comments on social media. One person put Biden's face plant into the concrete while riding his bike is a perfect analogy for the U.S. economy that's been staring into the ground ever since he took over. Another read, road was too bumpy and reminded me of the problems we still face for 2 more years. But here's the thing that came across my mind is if a progressive organization like Google is going after Joe's done. He is, stick a fork in him.
Well, when you look at his poll numbers and its approval ratings with Democrats, it's unbelievable. I think I think you will see in the next couple of weeks, you will see some attempts by the mainstream media to actually look like they're journalists for a change.
Well, Google is certainly equivalent to the mainstream media, and if they're going after him, which takes me to another title that you came up with. Latest poll, Democrats favor hemorrhoids over Joe Biden. Now, that was good, but that was pretty accurate. There's a new poll out from Quinnipiac today, and Joe Biden's rating among Americans dropped to 31%. But a Quinnipiac poll released earlier today revealed that the president's likability only continues to nosedive. 71% of Americans say they do not want Biden to return in 2024. Among the Democrats that participated in the poll, only 40% said they would like to see Joe run again. 54% don't want him to be the president next go-around. So he can, and what's interesting about this, remember he misquoted a poll the other day. He said, hey, Jack, 92 people said they'd vote for me, other Democrats. No, that was a scenario if it was you and Donald Trump, who would the Democrats vote for. But when you just have an open slate, the majority of Democrats don't want Joe to run. So Joe's in pretty bad. And apparently that your question was not actually on the poll. Would you rather have hemorrhoids or Joe as president?
That's a fair question.
Well, either way, it's a pain in the.
You know, we hadn't talked about this, and you might disagree with what I'm getting ready to say here, but I was thinking about it today.
Yeah.
What proves how far left the Democrat Party has gone and how they are controlled now by just the far progressive left and people that are really pushing socialism. I mean, you know, Bernie Sanders, which people, you know, thought he was a nut. I mean, he's basically running the Democrat Party, at least his ideas that he's been, you know, spouting out ever since he went on his honeymoon to the Soviet Union. But I bet today, if Joe Manchin decided to run for the Democratic nomination, he wouldn't have a chance in the Democrat Party. But I believe I believe Joe Manchin might win an election if he was the Democrats.
Oh, I said that last week when you were out. I
Okay.
actually said that on Friday, that if it was the only hope that the Democrats would have of winning the presidency in 2024 would be if Joe Manchin ran.
I didn't catch the show, but I have to give a friend of mine credit for him being right and me being wrong. Not that I didn't. I mean, I knew that Joe Manchin would have power in his first 2 years, but I just didn't think Joe Manchin would hold to his guns on this deal.
Well, you got to consider the state he represents. I mean,
yeah, and not only that. I mean, Joe Manchin's independently wealthy, and it didn't have anything to do with politics. I mean, he made a boatload of money before he got into politics. So I don't think it's. And at his age, I think he really. Maybe I'm wrong about him, and maybe he might come out tomorrow and say, you know what, guys, I'm folding. Let's approve $5 trillion of debt for the green energy.
Well, I think it was on Monday. Bernie Sanders basically came out and said we need to kick Joe Manchin out of the party.
Well,
so they want to get rid of him.
If Joe Manchin continues to hold to his guns, I think if we survive these progressives that have taken over the Democrat Party, and we can get them out of politics altogether, I think 20, 25 years, 50 years from now, Joe Manchin will be considered a hero. Yeah. I really do.
Yeah. By the way, Clark, it looks like we lost our video feed. All right. If you're watching on TV or Facebook, Clark's working on it. You know, you mentioned how crazy and how far it's gone. There's a story in the Washington Post. There we are. There's a story in the Washington Post today that there are neighbors of Brett Kavanaugh who are pro-abortion, pro-choice, and they are getting sick and tired of the progressives that have invaded their neighborhood, who are harassing their children, who are walking all over their yards, who are trashing the streets. And these people that consider themselves progressives have said, I've had it. Enough is enough. This is disturbing. There was another story in Town Hall today that was about a progressive teacher who was pro-progressive, pro-woke. And yet this teacher says the public school system is so bad. When I describe to my fellow liberals how bad it is, they don't believe me. Things like, for example, and it's probably worse than this, but the woke crowd right now, if you're trying to get into summer school, and there's some kids out there that, want to take summer classes. They want to bring a grade up that they didn't do well in algebra or whatever. They want to try to see if they can increase that grade from a D to a B perhaps, and take the course over again in summer school. So the kids out there want to go, but there's a waiting list. They can't get in because certain minority students have got first chance. Even though some of those students don't even show up for class in their open spaces, they consider those spaces filled, and the kids that want to go to school can't get in for summer school.
You mean just because they're a minority?
Well, because they're a minority, apparently they get first place. Now,
that's crazy.
Well, it's not only crazy, it's also illegal. There is another story out in the Carolina Journal. Legal counsel for Project on Fair Representation has sent a letter to Central Piedmont Community College, which is down in Charlotte, because a fully funded fellowship program there is purportedly open only to minority candidates, Black/African-American candidates. The April 18th letter warned the college that you are likely violating the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, Title VI and Title VII of the Civil Rights Act and other federal civil rights laws. The fellowship created by the college and ITW is for students pursuing a career path in certain blue-collar jobs, well-paying jobs, air conditioning, heating and air, refrigeration technology, welding, those kind of things, automotive technology. The letter continually reinforces that it's illegal to deny certain individuals under the law based on their race. But that is exactly what we see happening over and over again. And the irony of all this is, were these not the things that the Democrats ran on back in the 50s, 60s, and even into the early 70s that, we need to be on an equal playing field. Martin Luther King, we've got to judge people not by the color of the skin, but the content of their character. And now we have the whole thing in reverse, and the Democrat Party is in reverse. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Democrat Party used to be the party of the working man. Not anymore. It's the party of the white liberal elite.
Rich, white, liberal elite. Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah, and it's just an issue. What it is with the Democrats, it's an issue of just turning people, because their ideas don't work, turning people into one-issue voters. I mean, no different than this this whole nonsense. I mean, can you imagine 10 years ago that having a serious conversation in Congress about the fact that men could get pregnant? That's just That's just nuts. Yeah. And I don't think anyone in Congress believes that. But that's one more section of people that they can demonize Republican Party by saying the Republican Party, hey, they're out to get people that are transgender and that type of thing. So it's one more person that they can create of a one-issue voter, so they'll keep their eye off their...
But nobody believes that. I mean, even the people that are propagating that don't believe that. They know it's a load of garbage.
Yeah. They can't possibly be that stupid.
Well,
but it's again.
I'm sure there is a small minority that are that stupid,
and they're using people that happen to be transgender and that type of thing. They're using them just like they have used Black Americans for over 50 years.
Yeah,
and that's what it is. And they keep getting other people in this. Putting them in buckets.
Well, why we have open borders?
Yeah, just like our Surgeon General and the
guy that's the head of the
energy,
nuclear waste.
Yeah, the nuclear waste.
Oh my! Oh boy!
I mean, we sent him over to France. Can you imagine just 10 years ago? Can you imagine?
It is
Barack
one
Obama?
flew out of the cuckoo's nest, over the cuckoo's nest. I mean these people are. I go back just 20 years. Just 20 years. You would have locked these people up in a mental institution, and now they're heading up agencies of our government. A cabinet member?
Oh, yeah. China, Russia, and Iran. And
oh man,
they're just laughing, licking their chops at what they can do to America, and our allies are scared to damn death of what the United States has come to.
If we were to go to war today, the only way we would beat the adversary is because they would be laughing so hard they couldn't pull the trigger.
And our military is just, and I've talked to people that are active military right now, and this nonsense of constantly training in this area,
waste of time,
just goes on and on and on and on.
And it's a total waste of time. It's a total waste of energy. Hey, we got to take a time out. When we come back, Joe, Cousin Eddie, announced today he will be implementing a number of executive actions, which is a waste of time. We'll talk about that when we get back.
Got a trade? Then get to Greenville Toyota. We're out to buy 500 local trades, and we'll buy you out with our best offer. Or trade in for a new Toyota and get our Greenville Advantage with no-cost lifetime maintenance and more. Don't miss the trade buyout at Greenville Toyota.
Hey, we're at Marabella's in Greenville, the new location of Marabella's on Fire Tower Road. If you haven't been to this place yet, let me tell you, you are missing out. I want to introduce my friends from Marabella's. I've got Sal, Massimo, and Pietro here. These guys are awesome. Not only do they make great food, they do a lot of things for the community, which we're going to be talking about. But Sal, let's start with you. Let's talk about the new location of Marabella's on Fire Tower Road. I'm a regular here. I love it. You guys call it Old World Pizza. Tell us what's different about your pizza.
Well, we got two kinds of pizzas. We have the traditional, American style, and then we have the Old World Pizza, which is made with fresh mozzarella. And the way they do it in Italy.
Massimo, when you talk about doing this food right, it's authentic. And when I talk about authentic, you grew up in Italy, so you grew up with this food. You know how to make it.
Yeah, because we grew up in Italy, we know the ingredient, and everything we do from scratch. And the right ingredient it's been hard for us to bring over here. And now finally we can get the right ingredient to make a right pizza.
All right, now I'm going to talk to my friend Pietro here at Marabella's. He's got the Nino's shirt on today. We're going to talk about Nino's, which is another great dining experience, upscale dining experience, on another segment upcoming. But Pietro, let's talk about Marabello's. For people who have never been to Marabello's, what's the experience going to be like when they come here? Not only pizzas, but pastas, salads, sandwiches, you got it all.
Yes, we do. We have new sandwiches that we put in this new location, and we're going to spread it to the other locations.
The guys here at Marabello's have won national pizza competitions, so you know it's good. Thanks to Sal, Massimo, and Pietro. Folks, do yourself a favor. Come to the new Marabello's here on Fire Tower Road in Greenville, or Marabello's on Greenville Boulevard, or Marabello's in Washington on Carolina Avenue. Also, don't forget upscale dining at Nino's on Red Banks Road.
It pays to pre-order at Greenville Toyota. Camrys, Corollas, Tundras, RAV4s, Highlanders, and more are on the way. Pre-order yours today. Plus, get more for your trade. It pays to pre-order at Greenville Toyota.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
This is your Drive at 5 and ENC with Tom Lamprecht. Welcome back to News and Views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Welcome back in, Tom, Benny, and Clark, and you. It is July 20th, National Hot Dog Day. I have not had a good hot dog in a while. I love a good hot dog. National Hot Dog Day. Go have a hot dog tonight for dinner. Take a look at your weather forecast. Tonight, some clouds, a stray shower, a thunderstorm is possible, and a low tonight of about 75. Tomorrow, there's a pretty good chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon. Some storms can cause gusty winds and possible damage. Chance of rain tomorrow is about 50% with a high tomorrow of 93.
Whew, look at Saturday. Saturday's 96 for a high.
Yeah, we're actually fairly pleasant compared to some parts of the rest of the nation. Down in Texas, certain parts of Texas outside of Houston, College Station, I think it's been over 100 for weeks now. For weeks, which isn't totally unusual. I mean, it's weather. It happens every summer.
Well, when I was out west, I guess it's been about a month ago now, it was about 10 degrees warmer than what it normally is in June. And one day when we got off the river, it was 118 degrees. Ooh. I mean, and that's
jump back in the river.
That's just brutal.
So Joe Biden announced today that he will be implementing a number of executive actions focused on combating climate change. He's going to pass executive orders, executive actions to combat climate change. Why don't you just tell the sun to set earlier in the day to cool things off, Joe? Because you changing climate change, you've got as good a chance to tell the sun to stand still as you do to change climate. I mean, this is asinine. I mean, this is almost as asinine as saying that men can have babies. I mean, it's another one flew over the cuckoo's nest.
Yeah, and you look at they're talking $2.3 billion in funding for this, I guess, FEMA infrastructure and communities program. Can you imagine the waste, the fraud and the abuse, and
this is going to be Solyndra all over again.
Paybacks for
all over again.
For political help.
I mean, I don't know who's going to keep track of it. I hope somebody does, but I guarantee you this is going to be payouts, and there will be all kinds of liberal progressive buddies. The George Soros types. So didn't George Soros just get some $1 billion contract to help keep illegals in the country?
Yeah.
But, I mean, this will be just payouts galore. There will be all kinds of progressive new millionaires that will be popping up all over the country. Included in the executive actions is an effort to protect communities from extreme heat and dangerous climate impacts, which includes $2.3 billion in funding for the Federal Emergency Management Agency's Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities program in 2022, which is intended to help communities increase resilience to heat waves, drought, fires, flood, hurricanes, and other hazards by preparing before disasters strike, according to the White House. Now, I'm telling you right now, this not only will there be progressives that will make millions, this will also be the way that they will redistribute wealth.
Mm-hmm.
This is socialism. Now, it's going to go under the banner of this emergency that we have. Look, folks, this is no emergency. This happens every summer. Now, this summer might be a little warmer than it was last summer. But if you go back over the history for the last 200 years of our country, if as far back as we have this recorded data, there are going to be certain years where the summers are intense, like this summer, and there are going to be certain years where it's a little bit more pleasant. There are going to be certain winters where it's freezing cold, and there's going to be certain winters that it is more pleasant. That's called weather. That's called climate. And you know what? The fact of the matter is climates are changing very, very little. Very little. I mean, go, and they continue to say, follow the science. Would you please follow the science? You know, this money will go to left-wing progressive projects and causes and right in the pockets of these progressives who have, as you said, payback time.
Mm-hmm.
The executive action by Biden will also include an effort to lowering cooling costs for communities who are suffering from extreme heat, as the White House is issuing guidance that will assist states, tribes, and territories. There you go. For the funding for community cooling centers. So basically what Joe Biden is going to do is install a lot of equipment that will use a lot of electricity. So in essence, according to your theories, Joe, according to you liberals in the White House, you will be making matters worse. You're going to be burning more electricity to run the air conditioning, to keep people cool. And listen, you're not going to run this air conditioning off of your wind and solar. It isn't going to work. You're going to have to burn fossil fuels, Joe.
Yeah, he's full of a lot of hot air, but it won't run these air conditions they're going to provide to people.
You know, and Biden wants to consider potential wind power. He's talking about projects in the Gulf of Mexico, off of Galveston, talks about off Louisiana, South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida. He wants to put these big wind turbines out in the ocean. And I mean, what did we hear when they wanted to put oil rigs out there? Oh, they're so ugly. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt us. We can't do that. Biden is also directing the Secretary of Interior to advance clean energy development off the coast with all kinds of wind power up and down the East Coast. Biden said while announcing the executive orders in Somerset, Massachusetts, that climate change is an emergency. This is an emergency, I will look at it that way, Biden says. I said last week, I say it again loud and clear, as president, I will use my executive powers to combat climate change. This is no emergency. This is BS to the nth degree. There is no emergency out there. This is totally created out of whole cloth.
Well, my question is, where's the $2.3 billion coming from? You know, Congress.
Yeah, they got to approve it, right?
Yeah, Congress controls the purse strings, but there is
money in the Federal Emergency Management
Yeah, there's
Agency.
Discretionary funds. So he's going to blow
$2.3 billion.
Yeah, so he's going to blow this kind of money. So when we really have a natural disaster like a hurricane, then what's going to happen? Where's the money going to come from then?
And he's already gotten rid of all the petroleum in our strategic reserves.
You know, to your point about the climate change, now it's getting warmer. That's a fact.
It's not a fact. I totally disagree with you. If you go back, look over the last 200 years, we have highs and lows. And it might be hotter this year than it was last year. It might be hotter this decade than it was last decade. But if you go back over 200 years, as far back as we have this recorded history, it's infinitesimal. The small amount of the change is I mean, it's hardly even measurable.
Well, it is getting warmer. It's measurable.
It's getting warmer in here.
But it's not, but no. My point is a prime example to your point about this. This year out west in northern Montana, in Glacier National Park, it's the latest that the Going to the Sun Road, which is the road that goes over the pass, one of the most beautiful places in America. It's the latest it's ever been opened because of the record snowfall. Now, if I counter that argument and say, hey, okay, we've got global warming, we just had record snowfall. Oh, that's a weather event. Well, if next year we have kind of a off snow season, oh my God, just climate change. Just get, it's so.
Listen, I'm not saying the pendulum doesn't swing back and forth, but if you look at it over the and again, we're limited in how far back we can go with recorded weather, but everything indicates that the pendulum swings back and forth, and we are not controlling the weather.
Well, the thing
that
they don't mention, it's getting warmer in places, but it's actually getting cooler in places. Which I could do a show on this because I've done a lot of reading on this. I mean, our climate is changing, but I don't think it's man-made at all. I think it has. Yeah. I think it has something to do with
the pendulum swings back and forth. I mean, there's definitely an ice age at one point. Yeah, we know that.
I mean, look, when I was a kid, they had us scared to death as kids that, okay, we're all going to have to move to Mexico, we're going to freeze to death. We wouldn't be able to raise crops here. I mean, that's the truth. Go look at magazine articles. I can pull them up and show you.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, okay, we're going to die from acid rain.
Yep.
Well, I'm not saying acid rain's good, but we hadn't died from acid rain, and we damn sure didn't die 12 years ago like Al Gore said we were going to do.
Well, according to Al Gore, we should not have any polar caps right now.
Yeah. So,
they were supposed to have been gone decades ago.
I heard somebody say the other day, okay, if you said we're going to be dead in 7 years, then why don't we just enjoy it while we have it? I mean, let's just stay warm and burn gas. If you say it's too late, we only have 7 years, then let's live our best life.
So, Pete Buttigieg, Transportation Secretary, he was on CNBC. And who's the guy that's on that program? Joe. You know who I'm talking about on CNBC.
Scarborough?
No, not Joe. Is it Joe Scarborough? No, I don't.
One Mika, married to Mika.
No. That's MSNBC.
Oh, that's yeah. That's right.
I can't remember.
I know who. I can see him. I can see him. Yeah.
He's actually somewhat conservative, I believe, and he challenged Pete Buttigieg. In terms of he's asking him, listen, why are we so concerned with not burning any fossil fuels while India and China are building coal-fired plants as quickly as they can, hand over fist, which is true. And again, if you go to China, you go to India, you can cut the smog with a knife. We are pristine over here. And he was saying, in the meantime, you have what we're just talking about. You have certain areas that are going to, you're cutting out fossil fuels. I mean, right now there's a situation where in Texas, they're asking you, please don't charge your cars right now. If you have an electric car, if you have to charge them off peak hours, because we're having these rolling blackouts because everybody's running their air conditioning. And again, how do they generate the power to charge the electric cars?
It's not going to be by a bicycle, I can tell you that. Or wind either.
But the point he was making is, listen, we've got this situation where we have people that are hot in the summer and they're going to be cold in the winter if we don't burn fossil fuels. And Pete Buttigieg's response was, nah. I mean, his response was a non-answer. No, it'll work out. It'll work out. And he said, well, you know what? When you're changing things over, there's going to be some uncomfortable times. I mean, I'm paraphrasing here, but basically he didn't deny that wasn't a possibility. He more or less said, well, shrug my shoulders, and you know what? When you have a big transition like this, you're going to have some pain. He doesn't. He won't. Joe won't. But the rest of us slobs out here will.
Yeah, I looked at the article today that talked about that, and I hadn't paid much attention to Pete's name, but I mean, are we pronouncing it right? It's Buttigieg. Isn't that Buttigieg? We say Buttigieg. I mean, that would be Buttigieg, right? I mean, I'm just
on edge.
I mean, just a serious question. I mean, I want to make sure we pronounce it properly.
No comment. We're going to take a time out. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Another rock and roll weekend.
Burgers, better with Pepsi.
You know that moment when you realize your hair color is way past its prime? Or that you need a change and you hope it comes in the form of perfectly sun-kissed highlights? And at Fantastic Sam's, we offer real salon services at real people prices. Our color specialists can do it all. They make grays disappear, layer in subtle highlights, or help you finally find that perfect shade of red. All for real reasonable prices.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville do real burgers better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best.
Everybody loves burgers.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Another rock and roll weekend.
Burgers, better with Pepsi.
Hi, I'm Richard Langley, and after helping my grandmother with an iPad she received as a gift, I realized how many other older adults may also have challenges with their own technology.
Happy Grandma specializes in helping with any tech issue you may be experiencing. Whether it's setting up a new computer or TV, having issues with the printer or Wi-Fi, or showing you how to use your tech, we want to help you. To make it easier, we come directly to you with a smile on our face.
When tech gets tough.
When tech gets tough.
When tech gets tough.
When tech gets tough, get happy.
Happy Grandma Senior Tech Support.
Let's go, Brandon.
When we're not covering Brandon's heroics.
This, Brandon, what does he play?
Well, Mr. President, they're not,
Folks, let's hear it for Brandon. What a job he's doing. Let's go, Brandon.
Now back to News and
Let's
Views
go.
on 96.3 and 103.7.
Welcome back in. So Representative Alma Adams, we were talking about her yesterday. Apparently she's from the Charlotte area, not from Greensboro.
Hat lady.
Yeah, hat lady. Liberal. She's, I guess she's trying to be a part of the squad. She hangs around with a lot of the squad members. So North Carolina's got their own member of the squad. I guess that's something to cheer about. She was talking to reporters and speaking on the House floor with a coat hanger in hand earlier today. She said her colleagues were debating reckless legislation, and she wanted them to understand what would happen if they limited access to abortions. I stood on the floor with my coat hanger because that's where we're going back to, Adams said. Women need this care. They'll find it and get it, and that's what breaks my heart. Quote, people will die who don't have to, all because of this unruly rule that the Supreme Court passed down. People will die. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't think there's any argument. Again, let's go back and look at the science. I don't think there's any argument at all that the baby in the womb just killed a bug. The baby in the womb is not a person. Is the baby in the womb people? I think the baby in the womb is people. And I don't think we're going to have 60 million people die because of Roe v. Wade being handed back to the states. That's all that it was. It was handed back to the states.
I wonder what, I'm just looking at her bio here. She's got a couple of children. I wonder what she thought. I wonder what she thought about if her children was aborted. I mean, these people, she has been silent until this whole Supreme Court thing. I mean, I'd forgot. I didn't even know she was still in office. I remember from her a few years ago, but she's been silent on almost everything except for this. And she happens to be, a black American. And I mean, look at the numbers for abortions. The number of black babies that have been aborted.
Absolutely.
I mean, the numbers are staggering relative to all other races.
Yeah. And go back to and the biggest aborters, Planned Parenthood. Go back and look at and we've talked about this numerous times. Go back and look at the history of Planned Parenthood. It's an organization that wants to eliminate those people that they consider weeds. And I'm sorry, black Americans, Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, considered you a weed, and you needed to be eliminated.
Yeah, and Planned Parenthood, they always talk about, well, abortions are not a large part of what we do. Then
why are you making such a big deal about it?
So what's the big deal then?
Exactly. If it's just 3%, as you said it has been, what's the big deal? And why are you shutting down so many of your facilities? It's only 3%. What's the big deal? So have you followed any of this story related to there's a public social media bulletin board called 4chan. I'm not into it. Don't ask me what it stands for, but it's a media bulletin board. It has suddenly gotten real popular over the last few days because apparently someone has hacked Hunter Biden's iCloud account and has downloaded, and again, this has not been officially verified, but go to townhall.com and go down to the story about Hunter Biden, and it is unbelievable. They actually have links in there that you can go and watch some of the videos that they have captured off of his iCloud account. And now this is nothing new in terms of, wow, these are new revelations, but it is a lot more evidence of what we have known for weeks and months now, that this guy is
sick,
over the top sick. I mean, apparently he wants to be a porn star because, if the kid's in the car, you might want to turn it down. This guy has got a lot of video that they downloaded of, now it's blurred out, okay? But a lot of video of him playing with Uncle Albert. Right, and him taking close-ups.
Oh, my.
Taking close-ups of his Uncle Albert. And in front of some prostitutes that's in the room, and cocaine. Well, it's one and the same, right? Cocaine. He's got it measured out on a little weight thing, weighing out how much he's going to take. And again, I look at this and I say, okay, this is nothing absolutely new. But there's also information that they downloaded verifying his affair with his brother Bo's wife, Haley. Apparently, he referred to his dad as Pothole Pete, and because apparently at one point Joe referred to him, his pseudonym was Pete somebody out of a novel. Anyway, the whole, but it is so absurd. It is so graphic. Here's the thing I don't understand. How is it that MSNBC, CNN, ABC, CBS, Washington Post, New York Times, why isn't, if this was Donald Trump's son, my gosh, it would be headline news night after night after night after night until that you'd have to resign?
We'll just go back to 2012 with the re-election of President Obama and Mitt Romney. Think about the news coverage they had about Mitt Romney apparently giving somebody a wedgie in middle school.
Yeah.
And
yes.
Acting like he was a demon or something.
Yes. Thank you. Great point.
Just to warn our listeners, though, if you go to townhall.com and pull up this article, the advertising feeds that are linked to that article, I hope they don't have anything to do with me, but they are quite, let's just say, it's clickbait. Don't do it.
There's
see, I mean,
yeah.
You know,
don't.
Yeah, just don't.
Now, town hall is legit.
Yeah,
we're not. But
I mean, I
but
guess maybe those feeds come up because I was interested enough to see what this weirdo has on his laptop. But this, as Donald Trump said, he is a sick puppy. There's just no other way to say it.
Drugs, infidelity within the family.
He is a sick puppy.
Verification that Joe knew about the shady deals, illegal business deals. I mean, and listen, this is not just us making fun of Hunter and the Biden family. The Biden family, they're not only corrupt, they're deviant. And they have put the United States in a very precarious position. I mean, we talked about this yesterday, the deals that, why are we selling strategic oil from our reserves to communist China? Does that make any sense? No, it doesn't. Why? But it does make sense if they've got all this stuff over Joe Biden's head. I mean, are we being blackmailed? I don't know.
And the thing about it is how much more exists because, I mean, he just did a stupid thing, took his couple of laptops into a shop.
What a dimwit.
But I mean, think about it. There's probably maybe China has already have more information on him that's even more damning than this. So, maybe.
And what did he do while in China? I mean, if he did this here, you don't think he did it in China? And they've got recordings of it. And again, this is the smartest man Joe knows. This is the smartest man. Now listen, I can say I've never participated in any of the things that is on this video. But my gosh, if I was ever to do anything so deviant, I wouldn't be taking videos of it.
Well, that shows how sick he is. I mean,
That's what I'm saying. He's got to have this yearning to be a porno star, I guess.
And he just could be just high on crack and didn't realize what he was doing. But either way, it's being that close to the vice president at the time, now the president, and it's clear now that they had business together in China. I mean, we talked about it 2 years ago that we suspected it, but it's clear now that the connections are there. It's there. I mean, it's there on the laptop. So
we've got to take a time out. Stay with us. Interesting story out of the Lancet concerning those booster shots and your immunity. Stay with us. We'll have that when we get back.
We're on location today at Fabric and Home Furnishings in Arlington Village here in Greenville. One of my favorite people. We've got Lisa Pendry here. And Lisa, big news. You've been working on the store. It looks fantastic. You finally have finished the transformation of the store. You've got your Norwalk gallery open. Give us the whole story here.
We are excited. It's been a big process. It's taken us a while, but now all of our renovations complete, from paint colors to little elegant showroom areas to highlight everything we offer here at Fabric and Home Furnishings.
And we say that it's a furniture store and so much more, and of course that means you also have designers on staff. So tell us about that. You got some new folks.
I do. I've got some new designers that we've added to our team that can come out to your home, walk you through the whole process, help you as much as you need us to pull your home together.
And there's a big party coming on June 16th. You've got your Norwalk Furniture Grand Opening Gala, and it's going to be a big party here in the store, and that sounds like a lot of fun. Tell us about it.
It is. We hope to have dignitaries like Henry Hinton.
I'll be here.
And P.J. Conley is going to come, our mayor. Lots of fun people. All of my designers that shop here are going to be here in the community, and we're going to have some champagne and some hors d'oeuvres, representatives from Norwalk, and just have a big night of fun and festivities and education on what we offer.
I'll tell you, the store is packed right now. I know a lot of furniture stores are still having trouble getting inventory, but you guys have a lot of stuff people can buy right off the floor.
We do, Henry. We invested in a warehouse, and we've added lots of inventory so you can just have it delivered or pick it up the day you buy it. So lots of sofas, chairs, everything in performance fabric so you can enjoy your furniture.
And you started 12 months, same as cash.
We did start that so we can help with everything that's going on in the world right now.
All right, Fabric and Home Furnishings here in Arlington Village. Don't forget the big party, the grand opening gala for the Norwalk Gallery, coming up on June 16th at 5:30. Big ribbon cutting. and it's going to be a big party. So I'll be here. You need to be here too. Thanks to Lisa for the update.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Empty lots at car dealers everywhere, except here. The selection you want is at Greenville Nissan. And during the Nissan Thrill of the Drive sales event, buy a new Nissan with financing as low as 0.9%. The versatile Nissan Rogue, the all-new Pathfinder, or gas-saving cars like Nissan Sentra and Altima. And yes, we have trucks. Buy the new Nissan Titan with 0.9% financing, or the all-new Frontier for $99 a month. Hurry to Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
News and views.
He's kind of a diva.
He's absolutely fascinating.
Ultimate gentleman spy. Irresistible to women, deadly to his enemies, a legend in his own time.
You won't believe what he's going to say next on Talk 96.3 and 103.7. Here's Tom Lempreck.
Ivana Trump was laid to rest earlier today. A mass took place at St. Vincent's Ferrer Roman Catholic Church in Upper Manhattan. Donald Trump was there with his wife and son and also the 3 children he had with Ivana Trump. They were married in 1977. They were divorced in 1992. A new medical study out of the Lancet, a weekly peer-reviewed general medical journal, shows that the Wuhan coronavirus booster shots can be harmful to the immune system and can cause adverse effects. Recently, the Lancet published a study on the effectiveness of COVID-19 vaccines and the waning of immunity with time. The study showed that immune function among vaccinated individuals 8 months after the administration of 2 doses of COVID-19 vaccine was lower than among those of the unvaccinated. According to European Medicines Agency recommendations, frequent COVID-19 booster shots could adversely affect the immune response and may not be feasible. This, according to the National Institutes of Health, published their own response to the study. Marty McCary, who's up in Johns Hopkins, said immune function among vaccinated individuals 8 months after administration of 2 doses of COVID vaccine was lower than that among the unvaccinated, according to the European Medical Agency. Frequent booster shots could adversely affect the immune response. So basically what they're saying, I'm not a doc. I'm reading the article to you. I'm reading what Marty McCary said. But what they're saying in essence is these boosters are actually hurting your own natural immune system. Now, whether or not your immune system will come back, I don't know. But right now, after 8 months, and right now we're seeing COVID sort of resurfacing. Now, the good news is it's fairly mild. It's a bad cold, or maybe equivalent to a light case of the flu. Hospitalizations are very, very small as related to this new bout of COVID. But what's interesting is those people that were told, and listen, there's still public service announcements out there saying, go get boosted. Mm-hmm. And here we're seeing these studies come out and saying, this could actually be detrimental to your immune system.
Yeah, also adds encouraging to get your 5-year-olds, vaccinated, which, overwhelmingly that there has been like almost 0 deaths in those type people. I mean, it's very, very, very uncommon. Have you read, I saw a quick interview, I didn't hear all of it last night, that Dr. Burke, Scarf Lady, has a book out.
Really?
Yeah, and they were going over it last night. I don't remember. I was just flipping channels when I got home, and there's all sorts of things that she's admitting to in the book that were basically lies.
And you wonder why why Anthony Fauci is decided to retire suddenly.
Well, I think he realizes that if there's a change in the Oval Office, it's going to be a hot seat in the National Institute of Health, and it should be.
It should be. But you know what? When you have and listen, Donald Trump's got to bear a little bit of this responsibility. But when you come and he was between a rock and a hard place, I understand. But when you come out and you don't have the studies and you don't have the intense investigation into this new drug, and you just say, hey, everybody, you got to go out and get it, and you don't know what the ramifications are, this is what happens.
Yeah, and I think, when we did all this, there was no studies coming out of the United States, and we've got a Centers for Disease Control that's got 25 or 26,000 employees, and wait, they couldn't do any studies? We're having to rely on studies from foreign countries that are smaller than we are?
Well, remember all the money that Fauci was handing out, and some of that money, in fact, Kennedy's son came out with a book, The Real Anthony Fauci, saying a lot of that money was distributed to people to keep their mouths shut.
I bet it was.
Hey, listen, we got to run. Do it again tomorrow at 5. See you then. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right.